Hi, everyone. Welcome to Unveiling the Truth with Brad and Robin. We're really excited to be here today. Um, we're still working on glitches, so please be patient with us. And I think we're getting it with each trial. So we have a really good show for you today. We're going to talk about this really interesting abduction. And we're going to go kind of piece by piece because it's so defined. And there's a couple books that are written about it. And so we really wanted to cover it. We do have some pictures and bullet points, and I did a drawing on the alien species also. So let's just start with Brad, and we're going to go with the first part of the abduction day and his name is Carl Higdon, that was
Hmm.
abducted.
Yeah, Carl Higdon. Funny enough, his real name isn't even Carl. He had that since he was a kid, so it stuck. And that's a weird thing because I had an uncle Bobby, and you would think Bobby, short for
Yeah,
Robert.
yeah.
His name was Larry. There's there was nothing
How'd that
Bobby or
happen?
Robert about him. I don't know how that shit works, but hey,
Uh,
sometimes
uh,
old folks just stick with stuff and that's where it goes.
yeah.
But Carl Higdon was a genuine kind of roughneck man's man who combat veteran, outdoorsman, knew how to handle himself, avid hunter.
Mhm.
He even worked in an oil field. So he is somebody who knows how to work with his hands, strong. Even if you read the book by Laura Ranger, Taking the Complete Carl Higdon Story by Laura Ranger, you'll read a bit of his bio in there. I mean, this guy, when he built his house, he built his house. He didn't
Yeah.
contract people to build his house. He built his damn house. So he's a
Yeah.
fearless guy and
Yeah.
very proud man's man.
Yeah.
And I think he understood the struggle through his childhood and upbringing, because he didn't have a very easy life. And one of the aspects that Laura Ranger points out is his mom actually forged the birth certificate so he could go in the military and go to war.
Oh,
I don't know
yeah.
why a mother would want to do that, to send their child to war,
Yeah.
but hey, whatever. He
Yeah.
accepted it and he understood that
Mm.
life is just a struggle, and he never complained about it. And he said that it was God's way and he had to follow it. So this is a man of passion, of living life that was given to him, and he was thankful for every aspect of it. So his character and credibility as a straight shooter in the community, people respected him. Um, he he said what he said and he means what he says, and
Mm-hmm.
that really says a lot about a person. That's a rare trait these days. And the
Yeah.
incident in question took place
Wyoming, Rollins,
in
or
Wyoming. Yep.
yeah.
So he's not a city boy.
No, he's a
He
hunter.
is.
He's a hunter-gatherer, kind of. And I think he's just like you said, he's a good old boy. He's
Mm.
well-rounded, and he's like a Montana man, Wyoming man,
Hmm.
born and raised. And he was a good-looking guy. Do you want to show the picture of him? Can you do
Sure.
that?
You want to see how good looking and handsome he is?
I know he is. He's really good looking.
I know he's really good
He's
looking.
like the mountain
Robin's got a
man.
bit of a crush on an alien
Shush.
abductee. So we'll
Yes.
go with that. So let's see.
No,
Here he is. And we're talking about the guy on the right, not the guy on the
wait,
left.
I can't see him.
You can't see the screen?
I don't see it.
Hmm. Let me double check here. I am sharing screen two.
There
There
we
we
go.
go. There we go.
There we
And
go.
we're talking about the guy on the right, not the
Yeah, the guy
guy
in the
on the
t-shirt.
left.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I just think and he had a good marriage. He had several children.
A
Um,
lot of kids, yeah. And he's very
yeah,
loyal to his wife. He raised all of his
yes,
kids, and he was a very firm believer in providing. And that's an
yes,
important aspect, in any married man with a family. And yeah, I guess he is a decent looking guy. I mean, not my type. I'm straight, by the
Well,
way.
I hope
But
so.
yeah, I do recognize rugged good looks, and I do give a compliment when it's necessary. But yeah, I can
Yeah,
see the attraction there.
yeah. So,
But
and so what's on the other side we'll kind of go into in just a minute.
yeah, that guy.
And that's
That
not a very
looks
attractive guy either. That guy's not attractive.
no,
No.
no, that looks like a I think I had said it before, whatever species this is, I think they did a DNA hybrid project, and they took the genetics of Beavis and Butthead and Napoleon Dynamite, and they put all three of them together, and they got this guy with a
That's
ladybug or something
that's
in
good.
attached. So
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
not but hey, it's not all about the looks, right? That's what that's
No.
what most women
No.
tell men, but that's bullshit. But when you're looking at this guy, I
No,
mean,
it's
it's about the
not.
looks. It can be scary when you're off planet
Yeah.
interdimensional species. So yeah, I don't think he came here to pick anybody up for a date.
No.
No. Did you want me to show your drawing as well?
Sure.
Okay.
So I decided to try to do I oh, and so I wanted to share too. I want you to stay till the end because as most of you know, I'm intuitive and a psychic. And so I did automatic writing. Um oh here oh is this it? Uh-oh, I better go get my book. I didn't bring it
Okay.
in here. Um I did automatic writing of the event. He it's like he came to me and he wanted to go deeper. He didn't believe in the government. I think he just gave bullet points of his abduction, and we'll cover some of that. But I wanted to go deeper of actually what he saw. And I think his wife probably knew a lot of this, but he didn't want other people to know. So I'll let Brad go, and then I'm gonna take off and I thought I had my
Get
book,
your
but I don't.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
Yeah,
be
and
right
the
back.
books in question here, the that we take a lot of this information from, as well as other sources on the net, the interwebs, and everywhere else you can find information about this, is the book Marjorie Higdon, who is his wife, wrote, and then of course the book that I was talking about earlier by Laura Ranger, taking the complete Carl Higdon story. These are two probably of the best accurate accounts written about the deep dives of a close encounter of the fourth kind that I would highly recommend you read regarding this. There's a lot of writing and there's a lot of people online and publications, but when you're talking about something that was written by his wife, and then if you know a backstory about Laura Ranger, great author, I really recommend that you pick up these two books to read the full aspect, in-depth details of who Carl Higdon was, what happened, and why it's such an important case, and why that it's still talked about today. And a matter of fact, one of the things that Laura Ranger had said when she talked about this was she stated, you know, it best in her book, Taken, the complete story of Carl Higdon. She was quoted as framing it: a government that knew, a man who remembered, and a story that won't go away. So when authors are interviewed, or anybody who's interviewed is making a statement like that, these are just words, but those words are beyond the definitions of what they actually mean. So you kind of have to read between the lines of what that means. And the first part of that quote by Laura Ranger, a government that knew, what does that imply? What does that mean? What does Laura Ranger know, and whom else knows that we don't? I mean, is there an implication of possible government cover up? Did they have knowledge of the case
Good.
and the abduction or intel about it? Possible. Then we look at the
Yeah.
second part of that sentence, a man who remembered. And of course, that's
Yeah.
probably reference to Carl. Carl's story never, ever changed. And this is one of the things I
Mm-mm.
cannot emphasize more of when it comes to the accounts of experiencers and contactees is you have to listen to what they're saying. Dr.
Yeah.
John Mack, in his work, said it best. All of this comes from the experiencers and those who were contacted and observed it firsthand. You need to talk to them. Sure, there are people who bullshit and lie, but there's ways of sifting those out. But people
Mm-hmm.
like Carl Higdon, Travis Walton, Whitley
Yeah.
Strieber, even people who weren't necessarily abducted but worked in projects like this, like Bob Lazar, their
Mm-hmm.
story stays the same
Yeah.
through the decades, and it won't
Yeah.
change. It won't change because they're not lying. These are credible
True.
people, and his story never changed. It links
Yeah.
back to his background and his reputation
Yeah.
as being credible in the community. And then the last line of that Laura Ranger said, a story that won't go away. And I really think a lot of these
Mm-hmm.
stories won't go away. But why won't it
Mm-hmm.
go away? Because I'd say it is meant for an enduring case, cases of contact abduction are going to survive in authenticity due simply to the sheer credibility of the experiencer. And I
Mm-hmm.
mentioned others like Travis Walton. His case will always be talked about. Whitley Strieber's case will always be talked about.
Mm-hmm.
So there's an emphasis on the experiencer and why it is it is so important. It's an integral part of the phenomena, and understanding it is to listen to them. I mean,
Yes.
Dr. John Mack pioneered that concept and kicked it off, and people are starting to pay attention a little bit more.
Well, and Carl didn't want this to happen. I think
No,
he'd rather have had anything else happen to him in his whole life than having being abducted.
yeah,
So,
he wanted his
yeah.
elk.
I know. Well, we haven't got there yet. Let's
Yeah,
talk about
he
the
wanted
elk.
to. Oh, I'm sorry. He just
Let's
wanted to
talk about the
eat.
elk.
Okay.
Yes. So he
So
was
he
a,
went.
oh,
Yeah, go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, go ahead.
So he was a hunter,
Mhm.
and I believe he had a new rifle. And so he was a foreman, and all the guys called in sick. I believe you said, Brad. And
Yep.
so when everybody calls in sick, I guess the foreman will say, well, I got to take off too. There's nothing to do if there's no one here to work. So he took off and he decided he was going to go hunting. I guess it was a perfect day. And so he, like Brad had said in our last meeting, where that did he know exactly where he wanted to go, or was he just driving up a back road
Yeah, I
path?
yeah, I think once he realized the crew had to shut down for the day because it's like a safety protocol thing.
Okay.
He had just gotten a new rifle, and he called his wife and he said, "Well, I'm going to go elk hunting up in Rawlins somewhere, up in oh God, I forgot
Oh,
the
the National Forest, was it National Forest?
yeah, where was it? It was
Hold on.
not some
Medi
easily drivable place to get to.
Medicine Bow National Forest,
There you go.
Wyoming.
That's it. Yep.
Yep.
And he decided to go elk hunting. And this is a place where, as a hunter, hiker, camper, whatever it is, as an outdoorsman you are, you better know your way around those places. And this is no this is the time when there's no GPS, there's no Garmin on your
Yeah.
watch. This is a map and compass guy. This is a guy who's been outdoors his whole life in the military, survival schools, etc. So he knew where he was going. He knew what he was doing. I mean, otherwise he wouldn't have
Yeah.
gone. And
Yeah.
he went out there into South Rollins with his new rifle, and I believe he pit stopped and ran into the game warden. And the game warden
Yes.
said, "Yeah, there's been some good sightings of elk out yonder, wherever." And I think he
hmm
decided to head out that way.
Yep. And that was good too, because then someone had seen him. And then he had coffee, didn't he? Did he have coffee with that guy, or did he meet up with some other guys that were along the road and he had coffee with them, I believe.
Yeah, he pit stopped and they shared a thermos of coffee before he went
Yeah,
on. And that's a very good cogent point that you made
yeah,
is others saw him on the way to go hunt. So
mm-hmm,
he didn't make the story up. Yeah, I went hunting
yeah,
and got kidnapped. Well, the game
yeah,
warden saw him
because
and with
some,
his
yeah,
rifle and is like, yeah, okay, he was
yeah,
on his way hunting. Um,
yep,
so there's credibility to there's witnesses, so to speak, prior to the
yeah,
incident.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So he took off hunting and he saw some elk. And this is where Brad and I had a really good discussion. So when he aimed at the elk, and to be honest with you, I think he kind of in his head noticed that they weren't moving. They're just standing in an opening. And so when he shot his gun, I'll have Brad go over that, but everything went into slow motion. And we were talking
Hmm.
about that he was stepping into a like a different dimension, time traversement, and because even the bullet moved really slow. So I'll let you
Yeah.
talk about that a little bit.
So as you know, he's hunting. This isn't his first go around, and usually elk, deer, you name it, they're very aware of who and what is around them. So they would have probably smelled Carl.
Smelled
They
him.
would have heard him for sure, at least. And they were just kind of in a stupor. They were just standing there. And what a hunter's dream. They're not
Yeah.
scattering. They don't care.
Yeah.
I got the clearest damn shot I can take. I'm going to take it. Who wouldn't?
Yeah.
And that is when part of his testimony, he said he felt a weird vibrational kind of
Hmm.
shakiness and everything went on mute. And I think I've talked about this before.
Yeah.
That's happened to me one time where I've hiked in forest and woods. There's crickets, birds, there's some type of sound. And then when you
Hmm.
get to a certain part of a clearing or a part of the woods or forest, and then all of a sudden everything just goes dead silent,
Quiet.
it's
Yeah.
very eerie. I don't know if it's something to fear. It's definitely something to pay attention to,
Yeah.
but it's when your spidey senses tell you something is really off.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of how he described it when he went into that
Yeah.
clearing and saw the elk.
Hmm.
But he went ahead and decided to take the shot anyways. I mean, I
Yep.
would. There's a couple of elk, easy killing. And time
Yep.
slowed
Yes.
and pulled the trigger. And when an elk is standing still at a certain distance and you're as good of a shot as he is, you're probably
Hmm.
not going to miss.
No.
Generally, in a hunt of any kind, when you hit something, they scatter, they run. You've got to track the animal, and then you find it, wherever it collapsed dead, and then you've got to gut it, quarter out, field dress it. I mean, it's a task. It's a task. And
Yeah.
elks aren't small. These are 700-pound bulls or 600
Yeah.
pound bulls. They are not small animals. Now, after you do all that, then you've got to ruck it back over to where your truck was and to take it home and finish up. But
Yeah.
a loud, if anybody who's ever fired a rifle, and I have, even one with a suppressor, when you pull the trigger and that firing pin hits the bullet and that explosion happens, I mean, it's loud. Even a handgun, a
Hmm.
small pistol is loud. And you
Hmm.
see the muzzle flash of the burst of fire coming out the end of the barrel. But for
Yeah.
him, he saw the bullet, the actual the bullet come out
Hmm.
like it was in slow motion.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And then it hits some. Yep.
Yeah, you were talking about time
Yeah.
traversement.
Well, and I think just either it's a um an energy zone because they what these aliens are is their spaceship was a cube, a clear
Mhm.
cube. He just happened to walk in to what the aliens were doing, gathering elk, because they actually take elk home to their home planet. So he walked into the energy grid or the dimensional, multi-dimensional outside of this thing. And he just happened to take a shot. It hit what we think is the ship, part of the ship, and then it just I don't know if it smashed it or just the front part of it fell
Actually, we have
into
a
or
photo. I think I can show the
yeah.
photo. I can show the photo of
And he
that.
actually was very smart, Carl. He picked it up and put it in his canteen because he thought that was the oddest thing that has ever happened. Yeah,
Yeah, there's the bullet there. He put it in his canteen pouch.
yeah.
And when a bullet like hits something, it doesn't do that.
Okay.
It it usually splits and shreds, and the ballistics are different for every type of round, of course.
Yeah.
But it doesn't do that, and it hit this transparent cube and just drop like hit it and dropped. It
Yeah.
didn't even it didn't ricochet off of it. It didn't
No.
scratch it. It just boom, don't drop.
No,
So it came
and no
out
sound.
slow
Yeah.
motion, hit it at a 7 millimeter. I'm gonna just round off and say 1,000 feet per second. I don't know the exact
Okay.
velocity, but if it's
Okay.
slow motion, it's obviously less than that, and it hits
Yeah.
something and still makes that type of crunch. There's there is
Yeah.
a anomaly, to say the least, of what is going on with the science of ballistics and physics all at the same time.
And could you imagine being him standing there and watching this anomaly and then watching your bullet just stop in midair and then drop to the ground? And then the elk don't move and the elk are just like frozen. So
Yeah.
then it gets even more interesting that
Yes, it
during
does.
this he hears something behind him. And
Hmm.
so I believe he turned around and looked, and then if you want to pull up Auso One was floating to him or floating there. I know Auso One doesn't go into the sun, but he turns around and sees this creature floating above the air. And so I want to kind of talk to you about the whole synopsis of this creature. So he said the hair was like straw, and
Hmm.
he had two antennas out of the top, which my favorite Martian. I couldn't remember that the other day. My favorite Martian, the TV show, I think that was in the 60s or 70s, where the
Okay.
Martian,
Yeah, you talked about, yeah,
his
yeah,
antennas would go up. So anybody that's a
yeah,
little bit older, I think I watched it a little bit. I don't know reruns, but
yeah.
we were Brad and I were talking about the suit. So the suit Carl described it as like a scuba diving suit,
Hmm.
very tight fitted, shiny. And as I told Brad, that a lot of times when I channel certain beings, and like I did for my book, a lot of their skin was like dolphin skin, or their outside casing was like a dolphin, rubbery, shiny, maybe a little bit oily. Um,
Yeah.
Also, he didn't touch the ground. I can't remember how tall. Did he say he was like 7 foot or
It's like six
something?
foot, about
Six
six
foot.
foot, 6.5 feet. Yeah.
He had brown eyes. his whole face was jaundice looking, yellow.
Hmm.
And even Carl said the eyes, like we have our brown, like he had brown eyes, but then the white of the eyes were yellow. And then he said it looked like two seat belts that went across his chest. And then the belt and the apron. And he said that his legs bowed out. So, and I have drawn a species like that where the legs bow out like that, which is very interesting. But I would say that this species probably doesn't walk on the ground very often because they seem to float everywhere. If because even on the planet they float. We have a we're kind of still deciphering about the arms because he has this like weapon looking thing in one arm or hand,
Is it a
and then he
weapon?
has nothing
Do
in
you
the
think
other.
do you think it's a weapon?
No, I think it's energy. I think it's an energy thing. Um, I think that maybe that's what helps him levitate, move, and probably do a
Okay.
lot of different things. That's my opinion.
He
Why
should have
it's
one on the
point.
other hand then.
Why, maybe it'd be too powerful. Maybe he'd fly in the sky.
Or
But we
like I
were
said, maybe he's
thinking,
got a backpack with just interchangeable shit and he can put
that's
on
what
his
I was,
wrist.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't that
yeah,
this is that is one of the oddities about, I mean, of all the abduction cases,
yeah,
there's so many of them, and you hear about what they look. Of course, when
hmm
a lot of these experiencers are regressed, they ask, what did you see? What did they look like? What did they sound like? Etc. This is one of the, I'm going to say, biggest
oddest,
outliers, because most of the
yeah,
ones that you hear about, I've never heard of straw hair with antennas, bow
yeah,
legs that float with
no
two
chin,
arms.
no chin,
Yeah, no
no
chin,
chin, just
exactly.
face.
Like I said, it was a hybridization of Beavis and Butthead and Napoleon Dynamite.
It is
And
exactly, that is
yeah,
exactly Beavis.
exactly. And two two arms, no hand on one, and some type of cone on the other.
Yeah,
I've never heard anything comparable, similar,
no,
or anything else. Usually, they have, some of them have 4 or 5 fingers, long fingers, appendages, which
exactly.
which are used to grip and touch and do things like we do with our hands and our feet and stuff. But this is this is a hard one to
Crazy
really
looking.
even
Yeah.
theorize.
And I thought that in my past experience that this is his outfit is very Masonic looking to me, kind of a ritual with the the thing across his chest, the
The
belt
apron.
with the Star of David, and then the apron. I mean, have you ever heard of an alien wearing an apron? You only hear
No.
a certain ritualistic religions that have aprons. And I was raised with that because I was raised Mormon. So in the Mormon temple, we always, when we went in, we always had an apron. So they
Apron, there you
say
go.
the Star of David. Um, what did I say that star was? That star was, oh,
It's been said by a lot of things. I mean, just to kind of summarize and paraphrase what I believe it was Paul Hellyer, the defense minister in Canada, former defense minister in Canada, when he went on the record in an interview, he said, "Oh, yeah, by the way, the Star of David is God's spaceship."
and that is so amazing because I channeled that in my book. And especially when you read my chapter about the Magi following the star, it was a
Mm.
ship. And so what it says in here, it says that they told Carl the star on the belt was a representative of a starship, and the cloud around it a symbol of a map of the ground on their planet.
Mm.
And their planet had yellow water. And I wonder if that's why they're yellow, because they drank yellow water. So
Could be.
the little apron that I drew. So I don't
I
know
can
if
go
you have
back. You
it.
want me to go? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
of course. I can go to yours.
So I took it as there's 9 planets around Auso One's planet that gives their planet energy. So I'm wondering if that is showing like the land with the planets above it. Because he said the cloud around it is a symbol, the map of the ground of their planet. So I just thought that's very interesting that they have signias on them
Yes.
to represent their species.
Insignias, uniforms. I'm going to bring another photo on the screen here.
Okay.
And these are sketches by sketch artists, obviously, who drew these based on the accounts of experiencers, or I should say observers, experiencers. I don't know the specifics of them, but a thing with the uniform, as we were talking about, can be seen in several of these. I
Yeah.
mean, we see one right here. This guy that 1, 2, 3 next to the mantis here, he's got a uniform and he's got like pouches and stuff on his belt. Um, Down below here, 1, 2, 3 over, this guy, I don't even know, maybe some type of scuba thing. But again,
Yeah.
he's got the oh, there's a
Isn't
that lapel
interesting they have belts.
yeah, it's like a
Everybody has a
lapel belt
belt.
thing. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very, the military does that. So
Yeah.
there's some uniformity in some of these species as they've been described to various sketch artists and when these people have been regressed. And that's a telltale sign of either form and function, which is one of the things that I
Yes.
cannot get
Yes.
out of my head is
Yep.
form and function
Yep.
of the phenomenon, because it is so important to understand everybody has, I'm generalizing, I don't mean everybody, I don't mean to sound and judge here, but
We get
everybody
you.
thinks, yeah, everybody thinks they've got it figured out.
Yeah.
Palladians look a certain way, grays look a
Mm-hmm.
certain way, Dracos look a certain way. Okay, I'm with you. I'm not denying that, but you've got to ask the questions first before you come to. I'm going to stop sharing real quick. You've got to ask the questions as to where are you getting this ontological point of view. Because and when I say phenomenon, that's a very generalized term, but it encompasses a lot of this: UFOs,
Mm-hmm.
cryptids, paranormal, whatever, right? Because it
Yeah.
opens itself to the entire universe and cosmos, which is infinite, and that's where all of the inquiry stems from. Depending on whether
Mm-hmm.
you mean physical, spiritual, you pick it. It's not for me to judge, but you
Yep.
got to organize it in categories, and you have to have the essential questions in as somebody who's inquiring, as whether you're investigating or you're just a hobbyist or an aficionado or whatever, is what did you observe and experience? Okay, we saw also one. We see
Mm-hmm.
Carl saw that, experienced it,
Mm-hmm.
and that story has been around for 30, 40 years.
Yep.
Solid, believe them.
Yep.
Then you've got
Yes.
to ask the conditions. Now, has Auso One ever been seen before by anybody else? Not that we know of, or at least not that's
Well,
reported, right?
I think government knows. I think
Exactly. And that goes
government knows
back
exactly what's happening up there. Yep.
to you've got to give credit to the author, and authors know how to dig deep.
Yeah.
Laura Ranger said it,
Yeah.
a government that knew.
Yep.
So there's an implication there in that statement, right?
Yes.
Now, go ahead.
Do you want to continue on with the
Oh, no, I
event?
thought you were about to say something.
No.
Oh, I can
Yeah.
rant forever.
No. Well, so So back to that. So he faces this creature, and then the creature says, "Do you want a couple pills?" And he
Because
goes,
that's what creatures
"That's
do.
what a creature would say is, hey, I got a white pill and a red pill. Which one do you want?" Or what was
Yeah.
the Matrix, the blue pill or the red
Morpheus,
pill?
yeah, red or blue,
Morpheus.
yeah.
And so Carl goes, "Sure, I'll take a pill."
And this
And
is a guy
so
who didn't even want to take Tylenol ever before.
no. So in my mind, this is true abduction because they were mind controlling him. So what was interesting too is that the pills came floating over to him. So everything was
Hmm.
like floating. And I don't know if that little thing sphincter, I got a sphincter thing, was floating the pill over to him or
Just
what.
squeezing his
So
ass real hard with that thing. Yeah, I'm sure.
so um I just feel that he just didn't really have a choice and he just said yes to everything because it was just like programming him. And I'm sure he's in some sort
Telepathic
of,
and yeah, telepathic
yeah,
intrusion.
mind
Hey,
control,
yeah, you like the pills, right? You're hungry, right?
right?
Okay, here's some pills. You want to go for a ride, right? You want to take
Come
a
with
ride in my
me, right?
spaceship,
Yeah,
right? You do, right? Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and he did. He did all this. And the pills, they did say that they last for 4 days and they're a food product. That's how
Hmm.
they sustain themselves
They
for like
nourish.
four
Yep.
days. So, and my thought is, why did he give him the pills? Did he give him the pills because they're going to be traveling for 4 days? Or was it more because Carl said when he took the pills, he felt relaxed. It relaxed
Hmm.
him. Didn't he say? I think he said that. And so
Yeah.
then they go on a ship. And so he noticed that
His
on the
cube.
outside of the
They
ship,
went on his cube
cube,
ship.
it's a
Yep.
cube ship. Yes. So
Cube
it's,
ship.
so it was, and it was clear. So he said it was
Hmm.
like 5 foot by 5 foot by 7 foot. And he
Hmm.
said once he walked, somehow was inside, it was a huge ship. So I thought that was interesting. How on the outside it
Spatial
says,
manipulation.
yeah, yep. And go ahead. You want to,
Again, yeah, again, that goes back to the point is a cube, I believe that's a platonic solid, right?
yeah,
It's angled and measured, and when you see it, it is what it is. But when you go into a small cube and it's massive, where you
yeah,
see four elk, which are not small creatures, and then you
yes.
see a few more crew members, and I believe I,
There's two guys. There's two
the
men on the ship
two
too
two
that they
more
were
ossos or
abducting.
two humans.
Two humans that were kind of
Okay.
in ozone. Yep.
Okay. So then him, uh, Carl, and so clearly 5x5 isn't gonna, that's, that's like a clown car, where
Yeah.
10 clowns come out of some little Volkswagen. So clearly
Yeah.
they know how to manipulate spatial relations, the spatial
Yeah.
relationship with the physical um, dimension. So it's
It's
almost like an
amazing.
illusion. It's like an
Yeah.
illusion. You go and say,
Yeah.
oh shit,
Yeah.
but you really know how to shrink stuff down. But when you go in, it's endless. And that
Yeah.
is not the first time we hear that either in other accounts.
Hmm.
There's other
Hmm.
places actually here on Earth, supposedly, in other continents where people have been in who've seen the same thing. And when you go into these cubes or these ships, regardless of whether it's a cube, a disc,
Hmm.
whatever it is, there's there's no supports, there's
Hmm.
no frames that hold
Hmm.
it, that are
Hmm.
built around it. Everything seems to be just designed and molded as
Yeah.
it is. There's light, where's the light bulb and the light source? You know,
Yes,
they
exactly.
don't
You
know.
never see it.
You never see it. You
Mm-mm.
see the light,
Never
but you
do.
don't see where it's coming from. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just, it's mind boggling because it's almost they manifest it
Yeah.
somehow consciously, or it's part of a technology that is just so far beyond our dimensional understanding. And that is one of the things is when you listen to these experiencers and they tell you these
Yeah.
details and you see the common patterns with other people who have said the same thing, we're
Mm-hmm.
dealing with something that is either from the same source, very old, very advanced,
Yeah.
and thinking it's bullshit because we don't get it in a third dimensional aspect of our material
Yeah.
world is just being ignorant.
Yeah.
You
And
have
how
to
does
be
it
able to
fly?
suspend beliefs.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And how does it fly? It's a cube, and it's a clear cube. He says when it lifted off, he could see his truck. Once it got
Mm-hmm.
up past the trees, he could see his truck down below. And then he says it kept going up and up and up. And he said, he goes, I wonder what that blue marble is down there. And then he realized that it was Earth.
Yeah.
He was way, I mean, it just went boom right up with the elk were standing still. I do believe the other two guys were just kind of zombified too. I don't
Yeah, they
remember any
probably,
interaction with those
yeah, their
guys.
pills were laced with Xanax.
Yeah, they were out.
That's,
They were out like a
yeah, they were
light.
out of it.
So the the thought that we have is why do they want these men? And so we're going to go into that where they take him to their planet.
Mhm.
And if you want to talk about that, the planet,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember the planet's name.
I don't know if we know the
It,
planet's name.
I thought it was, I don't know if it was in Laura Ranger's book or not, but he said 106, he explained, Carl Higdon being he, explained he was taking 163,000,
Oh
excuse
yeah,
me, light miles, not light years, light
light miles.
miles
Yeah.
away from Earth to where this place was. Now, with no criticism on Carl's intellectual background, I don't think he knew what light miles means versus what light years means. I'm sure you hear the
Yeah.
concept, but putting it in perspective as to distance and time is a complicated calculation.
Mm-hmm.
So usually you don't hear light miles, you hear the sun is so many light years away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is a significant, I would say, outlier as well, is that he described a measurement that hasn't been described before.
And did they tell him that? That they told him that
I think they
that he
told
was
him
gonna,
that.
yeah, yeah. So they're sharing information with him. And he seemed to be the only conscious one of the
Right.
others, to be honest. I think they liked
Yeah.
him. In fact,
Yeah.
um, oh, that's in the channeling. I'll tell you why they liked him. I forgot. That's in the channeling, not in the book.
Well, I like the guy. I mean, I'd have gone
Yeah.
hunting with him probably that day
Yeah.
if it was me. So
Yeah.
yeah, and that's
Yeah.
one of the aspects is they knew, this is going to get a little spiritual and a little esoteric, but I we talk about frequency and vibration a lot.
Hmm.
And when there's genuinely good people, they resonate in a way to where people are drawn to them. And
Okay.
they
That's a good one.
interviewed the people in the small town that he lived in, Carl. Nobody had any bad shit to say about him at all.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No.
None of them said he was lying, he's full of shit, you know, he's mean, he's disrespectful. He was just even through the difficult times he had growing up, he still turned out to be a good, solid human being,
Yeah.
just a
Just
good
a
person,
decent man. Yeah.
a decent
Yeah.
man. And
Yep.
that's probably why they liked him so much and allowed
Yep.
him to kind of, yeah, okay, we'll keep this guy awake. We're going to
Yeah.
chit chat with him because
Yeah.
I'm interested in what he's got to say.
Yeah. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
thought that was kind of interesting that they kind of took a liking, or at least Auso One did. I think
Yeah.
that's pretty much who he is talking about. And so
Mm-hmm.
then they get to the planet,
Mm-hmm.
and he did describe the water as yellow. And
Mm-hmm.
oh, by the way, that these entities, I think they called them enders. We were discussing that because it's in the book.
Right.
And he did mention enders as a name. He mentioned that they come to our planet for food. They come
Mm-hmm.
because their water cannot sustain fish. And so they come get the fish. They get elk and deer. And that's what they put in the pills, I believe. They it's their food source. Somehow they do something with them. And I do believe that he did mention that they were trying to raise the animals on their planet
They were trying to learn the
too.
animal husbandry aspect of it to
Yes.
replicate it on their planet too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, that is not the first time we hear about it where other
Yeah.
beings or
Yes.
crafts come, and a lot of them take our water. That's another
Yes. I was
thing.
going to
They
say
take
that.
our
Yeah.
water.
Yeah.
Um, Cases where they've seen, like where they've levitated cattle and take the cattle, and the poor cow is in the sky, and then they go
Mm-hmm.
away with it. Um, as they take the water up, they take the fish too.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
Earth
Very
is
interesting.
full of resources and has a lot of interest with other species from other dimensions, or extraterrestrial territories, interstellar locations, whatever you want to call it. They seem to have a big interest in Earth.
Yes. And we're kind of a food supply, but also they take our people.
They do take our people.
So you want to talk about the people?
Oh yeah, so he gets to this planet and he notices there's other humans and they're lined up to go. And I want to say it was like a Christmas tree, almost like a
He
giant
kind of he
mushroom
described it.
tree.
Do you have a
Yeah.
picture of it?
I have, what page are you looking at?
I'm looking at page 59. So he kind of mentioned it was like the Space Needle,
Yes.
but a different. So it was
Space
really
tower. He
long
calls it a space
space
tower.
tower. Yeah. And the people were going in the space tower, right?
Right. They're lined up to go in there, and they were all kind of, I don't want to say comatose, but they were just in a trance almost,
Yeah,
right?
they were talking amongst each other, but kind of like a zombified talking,
Yeah,
I would
it wasn't,
assume.
it wasn't any meaningful dialogue. And I think that was part of maybe the state that they were all in when they were brought there. And they were just, in essence, kind of complying to go into this little space tower. And when
Hmm.
anywhere they went, they did not walk, they
No, they
glided or
floated. Yeah.
floated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot
And
about
I,
that.
I believe the space tower, and according to Laura Ranger and of course Carl Higdon, there were levels of it,
Yes.
and there were actual, like an elevator
Yes, there's an elevator with
and
buttons.
with buttons.
Yeah.
What?
I, who does that? I mean,
I'm
did
other
you
than we do,
us?
we
I
do it
know.
on Earth,
I know.
but you would think that a much higher intelligent species
Would just use their mind.
with clearly much better technology
Yeah.
still uses an elevator with
Yeah.
buttons.
Yeah.
And that kind of threw
Exactly.
me off a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of the theories where I forgot who the physicist was, but they discuss levels of planets and civilizations, whether they're on Earth or in other parts of the galaxy. So you may have a more advanced species technologically.
True.
However, their technology still may be not as
Okay.
advanced as,
Yeah.
say, an 11th dimensional being. I'm just
Yeah.
using that as an example. But yeah, went up in an elevator, and the elevator went up to an area to where these humans were kind of put through a screening, like a
Yes.
test, right?
Yeah. Something either slid this way or came down, he said,
Mm-hmm.
and then it went back up. And he quit. I don't think he said he felt anything that I remember. It just came down and then went back up. And then they announced, we can't use you. And he goes,
Yeah,
what are you
and his
talking?
eye, but
Yeah. Oh, it's water.
his eyes were burning because of the intensity of the light. And he
Yes.
compared it
On the
to
planet.
like he compared it
Yes.
to like what a flash burn is when you're welding. And I've welded before, and that's happened once to me, and it's uncomfortable. I was putting my helmet on, and then it was arc welding, and I had the arc thing that you put in the arc welder too close to the metal, and like right before I closed my helmet down, it hit the metal, and it is bright. And when it hits your
Yeah.
eyes afterwards, I mean, it feels like there's a bunch of sand in them. It
Oh,
burns real
really?
bad. Yeah, it's a weird
Oh,
feeling. It's you want to scratch them all the time, but they tell you not to do that. You're just going to irritate it. But it feels like there's a bunch of sand in them, and you keep blinking, and as you're blinking, and because of it, your eyes are tearing.
eyes are watering.
So
Yeah.
they're really red and pink, and it takes a while for it to go away.
Yeah.
But it was just a quick flash. Mine didn't last as long, but I'm sure
Mm.
for Carl, being on this planet with this light source that just was blinding him, I'm sure he had eye irritation for a while, even when he came back home to Earth.
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, I think he did.
Mhm.
And then the aliens, the also one said, "Now you know we can't get in your sun because your sun burns us." And so
Mm,
that I think that's why they talked about the black suit. And Carl said, "Yeah, I think I noticed you in the shade a lot, you know." He saw him in the shade.
mhm.
So what makes our sun look different than theirs? And I think I'm going to touch on that with my channeling.
I love it.
Yeah. So
And now
so
here's a question. They can't use them.
they can't use them.
Let's say they could
And
use
he's
them.
going, "What are you going to use me for?"
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
hypothetically, because
Reaper. Yeah.
there's others there being tested and
Yeah.
screened to be
And they didn't
used
go
for
back.
something.
Yeah.
What do
They're
you
gone.
think? What do you think the usage was for?
Well,
And
reproduction
okay, so
and
like
maybe manual
hybridization,
labor.
genetics,
Yeah.
labor, food.
Nah, I don't know. They have the animals for that. Why would they pick up the
True.
animals if they I don't know if I have you heard of aliens using people for food?
Reptilians,
Well, they're not.
supposedly,
Yeah. Yeah.
supposedly.
Yeah.
Um,
So,
I'm kind of, I'm kind of with you on that.
yeah.
Hybridization, reproduction, maybe using the genetics to improve the continuity of their species. And that touches on another point, is not just the Auso, I'm going to call them Auso Ones, but just not the
Yeah.
Auso Ones, but Greys and others that have been abducting humans for however long they've been abducting humans, have a very, very keen interest in taking human DNA and human genetics for
Right.
whatever it is they're trying to do for the continuity of their species. That's the theory. Um, why wouldn't, it's a rhetorical question, why wouldn't the Auso Ones or the reptilians or the Greys, why wouldn't you go and take some Nordic babies, hypothetically, or
Oh,
some tall
another
white
species
babies?
baby. Oh,
Yeah, why wouldn't you do
maybe
that?
that's against the God code. Maybe that's against their code of ethics. Maybe because our government allows them to come here and they have
Ah,
easy access to God's children down here. And I
you
want,
rang the bell where I
bing,
was
I
thinking,
win.
yeah.
So also, you can't see this, but I don't know if you have it, but it has, I don't know what this is, but there's letters, which are English letters on some of the control panels
Yes.
in the cube that takes him home. It has
Hmm.
EPCHO. Why do they have English letters? Why don't they have alien script or like a dot with a slash or X?
Or
Why
like a
do they
glyph
have,
symbol or something.
yeah,
Yeah,
why do they have English letters? That kind of blew my mind that he noticed that. So anyway, they can't use him.
so are you asking rhetorically, or do you want to hear an opinion?
Opinion.
Do you think it's human designed? It's human built using the
Oh,
human English alphabet?
you mean
Could
from
be,
our
huh?
government, like-ish?
Yes,
Oh, that's interesting. Interesting concept. So if that is true, then we know a lot more than they let us know
of course.
by having a flying clear cube, flying different dimensions. Huh.
Well, think about it. Of the various downed craft that has been retrieved, and that's another episode. We see glyphs and symbols
Yeah.
that date back to like the Theban alphabet and back to times prior to ancient Egypt, to the cradle of civilization, to ancient Mesopotamia, when
True.
I guess you could say the written word in whatever glyph or lettering they chose at that time as their alphabet. You see that on ships. You
Yeah.
see that on the outside of craft engraved and the inside. You you don't see ABC 1 2 3
I know. It's
on the
just like,
inside of an alien on craft, that
why isn't it
goes, yeah,
Greek? Why is it
or
English?
Greek. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Greek is
Um,
older.
Greek is older, but clear. And this he he Higdon
Again,
recalled
Carl.
that through several sessions of regression with one of
Oh,
the
that's right.
finest
That's right.
hypnotherapists that you hear, that one who knows of,
Yeah.
um, Dr. Leo Sprinkle, who is responsible for doing a lot of famous hypno therapy regressions for a lot of experiencers. So he's a
Yeah.
man of credibility, and even the polygraph tests, the several that Carl Higdon took, it wasn't lying.
No,
So
no, never. Never,
that
never.
is an interesting one, though.
Yeah.
American basic alphabetic
I
letters
know.
inside of a
There is,
alien craft.
yeah. And so the aliens, oh, and then let's talk about language. So I feel that it was all telepathy, but I do believe that they were moving their mouths because somehow Carl saw that they had three, like chiclets, teeth,
Yep.
three up top, three up bottom, and the
Hmm.
inside of their mouth was yellow like the outside. So they had to be talking so for him to notice that. don't you think?
Yeah, so the mouse moved, but no
I
vocal
think it's telepathy.
cords
No, I think it, yeah,
gave the sound. So
yeah,
again, to my point, form and function of the phenomenon.
yeah,
The
yeah,
teeth,
yeah.
I don't think the teeth and mouth were necessarily used for communication. They're probably used for eating, right?
Well, they
So
swallowed pills.
exactly. So
Yeah,
they needed some type of teeth or whatever if they did eat food, to chew it, swallow it, what have you. And the
yeah.
communication mode also is interesting with Carl because yet telepathic, there was still like some, it was either inside the ship or on Auso One, like some little box that,
Oh, was it the one that was the crisscross? He had a square thing right here. I think.
yes.
I think he did.
Didn't
I didn't draw
something come
that,
out
but I
of
think
that?
that or yeah, could that be a communication device
Yeah, but
then?
why would you need it if it's telepathic communication?
Yeah, actually in your picture you can see a little thing right there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it kept an open pathway. I don't know. I don't know. I don't.
We
I
don't
don't think
know.
we can tell you that's such a strange being. So they
Very.
told Carl we can't use you. So obviously we'll find out later why they couldn't use him, right?
Two guesses.
Hmm. What?
Can I
Two
make two
guesses?
guesses? Yeah.
You already
Or
know. You
or
can't
do you want to
guess.
wait? No, we don't know.
Oh, no, I
Was it
don't know for
because
sure.
was it because he had a vasectomy, or was it because he had tuberculosis?
Oh, but they healed that. Remember, they healed the tuberculosis. He felt when that screen came down, I think he had scars from tuberculosis. And so when he arrives home, we're getting ahead of ourselves, but when he
Right.
arrives home, he's healed from the tuberculosis because he goes immediately to the hospital. So I think it's a vasectomy.
Why not do a reversal?
Well,
You
maybe they
can
didn't
do
know
a
what it was. Maybe they'd never seen
you can
anything
do a
like that
vasectomy
before.
reversal.
Well,
I mean,
I know we know that, but maybe the species saw that he
hmm,
couldn't, they didn't know why he was malfunctioning, you know.
they didn't
So,
know how to fix the aspect of him shooting blanks.
yeah, I guess, I don't know. See, this is his
Hmm.
speculation too. Carl said he felt they took him back because he had a vasectomy. So that's where we're getting this is because
I,
Carl actually
I agree.
stated that.
I agree
Yeah,
with that.
yeah.
I agree with
And I
that.
think he would know, um,
Sure.
you know.
He had
So
enough
they took
kids. He didn't need to have any more.
I know, smart man. I mean, it's smart.
Yeah.
So they return him and also
Hmm.
one and just him. Nobody else returns. None of the other guys return. Just also one and him. And it seems like they had a really good conversation. They enjoyed each other's company. Also, one was very intrigued with his rifle. He really liked
Mm-hmm.
his rifle. And he
And he says,
actually,
I hunt too.
yeah, and he's a hunter too, but yeah, so he's trying to be one with him. Like, I'm a hunter too. I come down and get elk,
Yeah.
fish, just like you, but I don't use your gun. And he really wanted the gun. This also one really wanted to keep it, but and I think Carl was going to give it to him, but he says, no, I can't have things like this or something like that. It's like
Yeah.
against the
There's
law.
some rule like I'm not allowed to take it. However, but the weapon was, I guess, somewhat to also one
Oh,
primitive, but
yes.
he liked it. It's like a collector,
Yeah.
people collect
Yeah.
muskets from Civil War or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
They don't shoot them, but they collect.
Yeah.
So, but he wasn't allowed to take it. I'd been like, well,
Yeah.
trade me something. I'll give you my rifle if you give me your cone hand.
He probably would have said, "You don't know what to do with that cone hand."
Doesn't matter. It's going to
So,
go on my
yeah.
mantle.
Yes. Yeah. So they return, and so
Mm,
they're like hovering above the earth where they had moved his car to another area, which was odd. That why did they do that? Why did they move his
yeah.
car? Why did they even do that? So they did that
Hide it.
when they were taking off.
I'm going to say the Auso Ones, moved it to hide it out of sight
Oh, good
because they
idea.
probably knew people were going to be looking for him, which we
Mm,
did not touch on. His wife and was a
yes.
little frantic and
Yeah.
gathered a search party, so to speak,
Yeah.
of her neighbors and friends to go looking for him. But an employee of Carl's had actually called Marjorie and was like, have you seen or spoken to Carl? And it's like, no, he went hunting. It's been a while. I'm a little worried. So then the search began.
Hmm.
And
And
that's
so in the
probably why
yeah,
the truck was out of sight.
that's makes sense now. That makes a lot of sense. So before they released Carl, they realized he had pills. He had those pills in his
Mm-hmm.
somewhere on him in a pocket or something. And so they said, we need those pills. And I think he pointed his little wand hand at him and he lifted the pills out of his pocket. And
And
then
took
they
him
just
back.
kind of, yeah, stayed in air, however they did it. So everything was floating, because now you're in gravity. So,
Mm-hmm.
and then Carl didn't pick them out of his pocket. The guy, also One, pulled them out of his pocket and then
Yeah.
took them. I thought that was very interesting too.
Yeah. I think the
So,
whole thing about this, everything
I know.
floating
I
and,
know.
hey, you took my elk, what's up?
Yeah,
I think all of it's very interesting. And the
yep,
aspects of this case are so unique, even though
definitely.
there's a homogeneity of events that cross the paths of other fourth kind encounters. But I'm really intrigued with the type of species of Auso Ones or whatever they are.
Yes,
Their
very strange.
their ship and their planet is very, very interesting.
Yes. So what they did, and I thought this was very interesting because in cow mutilations, I feel they do this too, is they just dropped him down. He floated down and he tried to get his footing and then he slipped and fell on a rock.
Mm-hmm.
But I have heard when I was watching Skinwalker Ranch and some of the ranches around there of the cow mutilations where they just clean out and get the cows. Well, one event was there's a cow over here and the cow's back was broken and it was still alive. And they thought, how did this cow's back get broken? And then they walked a little farther over here and there was a mutilated cow. So the rancher said he believes that they dropped the cow that they took on top of the other cow and it broke its back. And then they could see where it was dragging itself to away. And so
You
then
know
they
that
had to
hurt.
put it down. Yeah. But just think of the levitation of it, the drop of to break a cow's back.
Well, you're dropping
And
something out of the sky like that.
that's true.
Gravity is going to take control. It's coming down at a lot of force. If it hits anything, even a
And
big
boom.
solid animal
Yeah.
like a cow, it's going to
Yeah.
damage it. I've heard the
Yeah.
same thing where they've dropped the carcasses and they found them in trees.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't
some
hear
of them
that.
get stuck
Okay.
in trees because the tree catches it and it doesn't hit the
Yeah.
ground.
Yeah.
So,
Super sad. But I
but they
feel
didn't drop Carl that high.
no, he was closer to the ground, but he did slip. He did fall, hurt his shoulder,
Hmm.
and and it was very interesting, I felt, that he was very dazed and confused, but he made it to his truck. But he kept
Yeah,
feeling like I kept feeling like he was this alien. Like he was kept looking through the alien's eyes because he didn't know how to drive his truck. He didn't know how to do a stick shift. All of a sudden, he just didn't know how to do anything. And I thought, that's just, is that alien in his head kind of seeing that? He didn't recognize his wife when she found him.
right.
Really? Yeah. So,
Well, I
so
mean, you
then
can't
they,
fault the guy for what he went through. He went
yeah,
literally to another dimension under the influence of
definitely.
whatever he was under the influence of.
Yeah.
And he was a mess coming back.
Yeah. And he, oh, what was I going to say? I forgot. So anyway, the
And that his
family
rifle
found
was
him.
next to him though. It wasn't his
Yeah.
rifle found near him,
Yeah.
and it was
Yeah.
kind of like in different pieces.
Mm-hmm. Oh, was
I don't know if
it?
it was, yeah, it was like disassembled. I
Oh,
don't know
I
if it
didn't
was
know that.
broken or something like that, but he was
But he kept
definitely
saying,
disoriented and weak.
yeah, he kept saying, they took my elk. They took my elk. He was really upset that he was getting his elk and they took his elk. That's all he can say. But I also read that he was only gone for 2.5 hours. Did you read? It was like he was only gone for like hours, not like days.
Right.
At least that's what I thought I read.
According to Earth time,
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
up in wherever it is he went is irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that is where we get into the aspect of you hear stories like these 20 and back and this and that,
Mm-hmm.
where the time dilation, you can be gone for what seems like a century,
Yeah.
but you wake up in your bed 3 hours later than
Yeah.
from when they took you.
Well, near-death experiences are the same way.
Mm-hmm.
That they're not gone that long, but they feel like they've been gone for quite a long time.
So that brings me to I guess, a question rhetorically, because I don't think there is a definite answer. Does any of that matter? Time.
No, just to the human aspect of it for the report. I don't think he cared. I think it's just a kind of a curiosity thing for humans. You're only gone 2.5 hours. Well, think I was gone for a lot longer than that because I went through a whole space to another planetary system
So
and
you
back.
interdimensional aspects of time are so completely different than
Yeah.
Earth time. And I mean, I'm gonna go a little sci-fi here. You remember Interstellar,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Um, Cooper never aged, but his
Okay.
daughter Murph was an old woman when he saw her.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
What if you came back,
As the
hypothetical?
same.
What if he came back at
Yeah.
43 years old, Earth years,
Mm-hmm.
and all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden his wife is 90,
Mm-hmm.
but he's
Was
42 and looks it.
the movie, what was something the third kind? What was that? Steven Spielberg. At the
Oh,
very
yeah.
end of the movie, they released guys that looked like they were coming from World War II.
Mm-hmm.
And they were all like when they left, when they abducted them, they all came
Mm-hmm.
off the ship and
Young
they were
men.
doing a trade. You know, they're giving us the people from the 40s and then we're giving them the new people. So, same kind of thing, huh?
Same kind of thing. And that's what makes me think, where had they could have used him at this planet and he wasn't usable, if he was used, would they use him to permanently and bring him back? Or would he just not come back anymore at all?
I can tell you that in my channeling.
Yeah.
You forgot about that.
I'm asking all the right questions then.
Yes, you are. So then he goes to the hospital
Hmm.
and gets checked out, which is fabulous because then you have documentation of everything. I don't remember too much about if they found anything, but he drew a picture of this. His wife believed him immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did. She was a good woman. She believed him immediately. She knew that this is not normal for her husband. And he drew a picture and he wrote, I think he wrote enders on it. He tried to draw the Auso One, and he drew I think that's where we got the EEP whatever
Hmm.
code. He drew that. He also drew the inside of the ship of the four
He did.
chairs,
Yep.
um, and then a control system. I think there's a window there. And then I think there's a picture. That's okay. I just got something. So if you look at page 57, it shows next to the window the cloud symbol that was on his apron.
Yes.
That's, and I think if you look at that close, I think there's some dots on there. And that might be because I think they said there's 9 planets around their planet and it charged their planet. Those 9 planets charged Osso's
Almost
planets
like a
or the
star
Enders.
map. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then the rest is history. Then people got a hold of him and I think he took lie detector tests. He took probably every test under the sun. And
Yeah,
here's a
he
really
did.
private man. And now he's thrown into
And
to a
that
new
star
life.
map is interesting you point that out because Betty and Barney Hill's abduction case, Betty Hill
Yes.
under various regression therapies remembered a star map system and she kind of drew it
Hmm.
out and it was Zeta
Yep.
Reticuli star system.
Yep. And
So
isn't it
they had
funny
it.
that
Yeah.
they want to show us that? I mean, they wanted to show Betty where they're from. I think that's very curious that they care, that they want to show just a human. We're from here. I thought that
Yeah.
was
How
very
do you get
interesting.
there? It's like, well, how do I get there then? You know, I see the
Well,
map, but have you been in space? It's not exactly a highway that you can follow or route. I mean,
yeah,
there's got to be other ways to travel interdimensionally. And I think that's what part of the phenomena is I don't think they take routes to get here like you would think they do, like humans. We have this I want to say in ignorance, but it's like, well, if they live so many millions of light years away, how do they get here so fast? And why does it take them so long? And blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, I don't think you're understanding the
travel.
dimensionality aspect of
Yeah.
it. It's not like, hey, hop in a ship, pack up, it's going to be a while because it's a long drive. There's
Yep.
an interdimensional aspect of it when you're talking
Yep.
about the universe and space. A
Exactly.
very a very I don't even know the words because this shit's so far out there, literally, that getting the
I can help you
words.
with that with my channeling.
Oh, I love it. Is that a hint? Is that where you want to go?
Can we do it?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. So I channeled, and actually, I really wanted, I think I presented this to you, Brad, that I wanted to do this case because
Mhm.
I've channeled people that are dead before, and I really
Yep.
felt Carl around me. And so I felt that he wanted to tell now his side of the story because he didn't before because of he didn't trust the government. He kept saying, I don't trust the government. I don't want them to
Hmm.
know exactly what's in my head. So I'm just going to read you this and then we can talk about it.
Okay.
So this is my channeling on Carl Higdon, and this is his words. He says, "I loved hunting. I was raised that way, and I felt the meat was fresh and untainted. I just was a common man with no particular great meaning. I lived a simple life, non-dramatic life, mostly. I lived my life the way my folks did. I didn't want for much but hunting and fishing. Then that day, that one cold day that changed my life forever, my simple, quiet life became disrupted. I know, I know you. Okay, hold on. I know you know the story, but let me tell you a bit more. Let's go to the place where I saw Auso One. I don't know what came over me. It was like someone put me in a trance. Like I was awake, but not really fully engaged. Also, one was the strangest freaking thing I have ever laid eyes on. In my mind, I wanted to laugh. In my heart, I was scared. He was freaking floated. He freaking floated, he said. Yeah, that's right. He was at least a foot or two above the ground. I wouldn't say he was ugly, just plain strange, from the kind of hair on his head, the color of his skin, and I just couldn't believe what I was looking at. Then he talked. It was strange. His lips moved, but what I heard was in my head. I couldn't resist his promptings. I found myself completely defenseless to fight him, like my mind was under his control. I said yes to everything he wanted me to do. Crazy, I know. I'm the type of man that would have held up my rifle and tell the creature to back the F off. Now let me tell you, when I boarded the cube, it felt wonderful. I felt like I was at home. My mind was able to ask questions, and somehow they removed aggression and anger. I was at complete peace. I really can't tell how long the ride was, but I can tell you something I kept to myself. We went into a dust of stars. It was what you would call a nebula. The colors were beyond words, and the planets were colorful. I think small stars that glittered. Also there were these round orbs. Okay, hold on a second. Also there were the round orb things flying everywhere and were like leading the cube craft into this amazing sight. I stood at the screen window, not sure which it was, but it was beyond imagination. I didn't want it to stop. As we entered, the stars moved away to an opening like a black hole, I guess you could say. We entered the black hole, then everything changed. We moved so fast, I became dizzy and faint. I could see us passing streaks of light of white, green, reds, and blues, maybe some yellow. Then I lost consciousness because I felt like this pressure against my body. I had a hard time breathing then, and then lights out. When I came to, I had a huge headache. Even my eyes hurt, which probably was the sun. The creature Auso One came up to me, and he had this pointed hand, as you know, and he touched my forehead with it. My headache disappeared. I knew I was under their mind control, but my thoughts were different than what is usually my own. I felt calm with Auso One. I think he took a liking to me. He said he liked my look. I love that. And he would like okay, so this is interesting. He said he liked my look and he would like my look on him. I was stunned. What the hell did that mean? My look on him. I became a bit fearful now. What are they going to do? So the rest I told in my story. I am thankful I had a vasectomy. Best choice I made in my life. I know it saved me from the planet we arrived from. The planet was wrong on all levels, I thought. It was plain, and actually, in my mind, it wasn't a planet at all. It was a manufactured ship. They manufacture DNA, subhumans. I remember asking Auso One, why are why are you doing this? His response was that his species and others are weak and dying off. You know now that I think about, let's see. Oh, you know now that I think about it. I think he was lying to me. None of them look sick or weak by any means. He was manipulating my compassion, I think. Anyway, those poor souls that were taken were slaves to these creatures, and I'm sure they used them up, then discarded them once they were no more use to them. Also, one very much was manipulating my thoughts. I know that now. Every person that was there was like a zombie, no emotions, even though they were talking, walking, but their emotions were flat. He goes, man, I thanked God every day that I was brought back to my family. Yeah, my life changed, and I had my way. If I had my way, no one would have known the better of what had happened to me. I never wanted that kind of strange attention from people and strangers. And then he goes, Robin, what was really strange, they didn't leave me alone in my head, like I was still in their control. I hated that. Then I stopped fighting it. I don't know if they rewired my brain or what, but I was never fully the same again. Well, since you have this gift, he's talking about me, I knew I
Mm.
could tell you more of my thoughts and feelings that I never talked about. I never wanted this. But you know, there are thousands of poor souls that are taken off this planet to a manufacturing planet of DNA, and that's just not right. And when I found out our government knew, I grew very angry and shut my mouth. Who could do that to their own people and sleep soundly at night? Well, I better get back. Carl Higdon, over and out.
Wow. He had a lot to say,
Yeah, he did.
a lot more to say than what um,
Yeah.
was said in any of the literature.
Hmm. So that's just food for thought that he gave me. And so we just let us all digest what he said. And I really felt that it was, see, I think in my psychic travels, and I channel, a lot of species live in planets, sometimes planet in a planet. And
Mm.
so that light could have been a manufactured light. It wasn't a sun, it wasn't a star, it could have been a manufactured light. And I think if I remember correctly, I think the light came from that um,
Space Tower?
space tower, or it was around the space tower or something. But I
Mm-hmm.
think it was a manufactured light, which could have had certain rays that could have burnt his eyes, you know? But it
Right.
didn't burn Auso One, where our sun burned Auso One. So if Auso One, if it was a manufactured light, it didn't burn their people or aliens.
Yeah.
The thought.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's physiology obviously functions differently on different planets and atmospheres and environments. I mean, you hear of grays supposedly when they come to Earth, they they try not to stay here too long, apparently because their immune systems
They
become
break down. Yeah.
compromised because of it.
Hmm.
So it's like, hey, we need to hurry up and get this guy in GTFO. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
if we're
Get
stuck,
out.
they die.
Yeah.
Same thing I've heard with the tall whites. There's a lot of literature and stuff about that. And the channeling was beautiful, and I loved how he told more from his subconscious as to what really is going on, which
Yeah.
maybe some people wouldn't believe. And this goes to the
Mm-hmm.
concern that I have when people who've experienced fourth kind encounters like this, some say they come back changed and it was nothing but love. And maybe it is sometimes, but
Yeah. But
there's also that symbolic and kind of
mm-hmm.
archetypal form that it's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I'm from another place. I come in peace,
Yeah.
you know,
We're gonna
angels,
help you.
crafts, beings of light, transition
Yeah.
layers from human cognition, because they
Yep.
play on that. Just like you said, they played on his empathy and his
Compassion. Yeah.
kindness. Yeah.
And
So
they lied to him. He goes, I think they're lying to me. Of course they are. To get, yeah.
yeah. So the form and the communication may be kind of semiotic in a sense, to where they use images and they use certain types of words and um, like emotions. They try to
Mm-hmm.
replicate emotions that we have
Mm-hmm.
to bring you in and not really necessarily resist. Then you hear about encounters like Travis Walton, where he tried to beat the shit out of every single one of them that came near him.
Well,
You
and
know what I
so I
mean?
think, yeah, and I think on his case, he didn't allow mind control because I think he was kind of wounded and damaged and angry and fighting them. And so they couldn't get into his head because he's constantly.
Yeah.
And so that's what I think. That's why I think he remembers everything so greatly because they didn't get into his mind.
He's a
And
fighter.
yeah. Oh, yeah. He was gonna. Yeah.
And similar background, right? Outdoorsman,
Yes, exactly.
roughneck.
Yeah,
Carl, same
exactly.
too, you know. I even think Travis Walton was a boxer. So, I mean, he's a guy who took no shit. So,
Well,
uh,
yeah.
you can't blame somebody who is reacting to fear when you deeply are ingrained with that sense of, hey, some
Mm-hmm.
bad shit's going to happen if I don't try to get myself out of it. And I
Yeah.
need to try to do what I can to get out of it. And I think
Yeah.
it's almost like, okay, he's too much. Drop his ass off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like,
Well, I
forget
feel that
it.
they repaired him, the Palladians or whoever that was with the glass
Hmm.
bowl over their head. I felt that they took him, put him out, and then they repaired his body because he was just unfortunately at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Do you
And I
think that
don't
was
think
a
they could leave
human
him there.
in
Huh?
the glass bowl? It might have been a human,
Well, didn't they have blonde hair with their little bob haircuts? I think they had little bob haircuts. Even the men had little bob haircuts, which is
something like that.
interesting that why all the species that I see, I've never seen a bob. All of them have the long hair. It's like they don't cut their hair, kind of like the Indian nation. They all of them have the long hair, or some have had short hair, but it's very interesting the bob. Why did they choose the Dutch bob? I mean, that's an interesting.
Why not
I
go
mean,
with
oh,
the crew
I
cut
want a
flat
bob,
top or
please.
something? Yeah, at least do a
Yeah,
flat top or something.
or just like, you
Do the
know,
rat
or
tail.
ponytail, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is this bob thing is kind of tripping me out a little bit. All the women and the men, because I think Travis saw the men and I think he drew them like with a bobby haircut.
Yeah.
You have to look at that and see. So I think we're gonna have to wrap up here, Brad.
Yeah, we talked about this endlessly, and there's
I
so much
know.
that we touched on. But this
Yeah.
is a good case that still needs to be talked about. And we got to give credit
Yeah.
to Laura Ranger and Marjorie Higdon for publishing those
Yes.
books and all of the other literature that is out there online. And this is our successful episode 2 of Unveiling the
Yes.
Truth with
Yeah,
Brad and Robin, and I don't know what we have for three.
we do.
Or
We know.
we do.
Alaska.
Oh, you okay. I was
Can
I was
I
gonna say, well,
say?
I was gonna say
Oh,
let it be a surprise,
well,
but
okay. Well, that they don't know what I'm going to talk about that. So
true,
three
true.
is going to be even better.
Oh
And
yeah.
so I'm going to try to do, if Brad allows me to do this,
Of
is to
course.
do a channeling at the end. And so I can maybe get a different psychic perspective at the very end of our podcast and then leave it for
Allow
you
you.
to
It's not for me to
allow
disallow
me.
you. I welcome it. This is you're the other
Okay, I'm
half of
just
the channel,
kidding.
so please.
I know, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding. If you guys don't mind, I will do that. And then I would just it's just going to be like food for thought for your mind. Just to pick at your mind. I'm going to give you information, then you guys think about it for the rest of the week.
Yeah, Alaska, that's a big
And
one.
then we have this month too, we have Sharon Sananda
We do.
Kumara, and she has written a book,
Mhm.
Awakening of the Soul, I think. She is we're going to talk about near-death experience, and I've always been fascinated with near-death experience. And because I
I've
always,
had one.
yes, you have, and I'm glad you're here to tell the tale. And
Yeah.
so we're going to talk about that probably the week of Thanksgiving or the week before
I think the
Thanksgiving, the
23rd.
23rd. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that'll
Yep.
be fun.
We got stuff in store for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
So thank you all for tuning in and
Yeah. Thank you.
watching. Please give a thumbs up, a like, subscribe, comment. We love what we do. This is a labor of love, and Rob and I are very passionate about this. So
Hmm.
um, tell us what you like, tell us what you didn't like.
Yeah.
Um, we don't mind.
Yeah. All
Alrighty.
good. Okay. Peace out,
Good night,
guys.
everybody.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye. Bye, Robin.
Bye. Bye.